be exactly what you want to be without all of the fear around you. We have to stand up together. Welcome everybody to another episode of The Chairman Project with me, your humble host, Jason Sisneros. Welcome to all the new viewers. Thank you to the consistent and the dedicated, the people that have been here week after week. We're live right now. I know you might be watching this. If you're seeing my face, you're watching this on replay. But we are live every single Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at the J Sisneros on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. But that's where you find us. The show is always pinned to the top, and you just click on it, and you're ready to roll at 9 a.m. every single Saturday, except for next Saturday. Just a shout out to the people that are live in the audience. Next Saturday, we're off. I will be in Canada. And I will be presenting to a group of business owners up there. So just skipping 1 week, we won't be here next Saturday, but we'll be back on track the following Saturday. So just so you know, that's where you can join us. If you want to join the conversation live, if you're having any issues with your business, if you want to take your business to the next level, live is the place to do it, because we do this section of content. I shut off the video, and then we have conversations. We talk about people's businesses, the results that they're getting from following this journey with me week to week to week. Those of you that need to catch up, you want to binge watch, you want to do some deep dive into things to do for your business, you can always go to YouTube at The Chairman Project with Jason Sisneros. We're on a lot of other iHeartRadio and iTunes and all that other kind of stuff. But if you want to see the video and you want to follow along, the other thing that you can do is go to built2exit.biz, put in your email address, and my team puts together all my show notes and the edited video and some announcements and other things and questions that we answer and so on and so forth. So it's a great resource for you to be able to revisit what we talk about on Saturday. Like this Saturday is going to be some heavy content. It's going to be a lot of things to follow along. What I did this week, for those of you that are new to the show and for people that are live with me and listening and multiple time listeners, what I did was I decided to step back for just a second and kind of connect the dots end to end. We take slivers of content every week and I go deep into them. This week, what I wanted to do was step back just a little bit, look at the overall environment and to look at the end-to-end journey that you're on. So maybe that'll connect some dots for those of you that have been going week to week with me for a while. And at the end of the day, this is about control, right? It is literally about me taking what I've done in my own life and my businesses and just handing it to you and saying, here's the journey, because I'm massively passionate about this group of people. If you own a business, you're my family, right? We don't agree on everything. We're not politically the same. We're not the same colors. We're not the same genders. We're not the same, but our heart, our resilience, our dedication, the spirit that resonates inside of us it's the same with all of us. And I've been around the world talking to business owners from every country, every gender. Oops. Sorry, had to put that headphone back in. my video editing people are going to have to take a look at that because it just fell out. I was waving my hands around. Can you guys still hear me? Give me some hearts on Twitter if you guys can still hear me. I was waving my hands around, getting all excited. And now you're back in my ear. So just give me some hearts if you guys can still hear me. All right. Oh, perfect. Okay, good. All right. So video editor, we're going to start again. Like it didn't fall out of my ear because I was waving my hands like a maniac. So anyway, so again, talking about us as business owners, we have that same heart beat within us. It's a rebellious sort of heartbeat. It's not wanting to be controlled. It's wanting to have some autonomy and some control over our own destinies. And so we take it because the environment exists for us. And that's what this show is all about. This is why I'm here, is because I earned a really cool title many, many years ago in the domestic violence fight, against it, from a group of ladies that I was working with at the time. And it was called, and it's the Shield. I've got an award behind me, if you're watching on video, from them, where they give me the title of the Shield. And it's meant a lot to me since then. And it reminds me of why I do what I do. I love to defend people that are making their own way in the world, that are looking for a hand, not a hand out, but a hand up. And because I wouldn't be where I am without that from people in my own life, people that looked at me and said, I'm gonna seed into this potential. And that's really what I love about this environment, why I'm so passionate about it, why I do this week to week. So let's get started. Okay. Let's get started. Again, I'm going to announce here, I said it live already to everybody, but if you are a note taker, this is going to be a great week for you to sit back, maybe push the pause button on the video, grab a notepad or your Remarkable, which, by the way, I just ordered my brand new one, or whatever it is that you write on, and let's take some notes. Because if you want to take control, there's some things that we have to go through. And I'm just going to start at the beginning, and we're going to work our way all the way through from about a 30,000 foot view, so that you know where you are in the journey and what resources or tools you may need to grab for yourself along the way. So the premise of this show, the premise, the new brand, the new division that you guys are going to start seeing come out over the next 3 to 6 weeks, the book that's going to be hitting the bookstores, and so it's called Built to Exit, and this is really a culmination. Again, those of you who are longtime listeners of the show, you know that I've been at this game for a very, very long time, and that I had my own exit, my big exit, back in 2019. And so this division, in defense of the small and mid-sized business community, which we need right now, we know this. Everybody has their hands out and in the pockets of small and mid-sized business owners, okay? And so the idea, the concept of building to exit, Built to Exit, that's the website, builttoexit.biz. That is the name of this division, called Built to Exit, and it hinges on one thought that many business owners don't think about, is that everybody exits. When it pertains to your business, when it pertains to life, for all, for that matter, everybody exits. How matters. And this show is about taking back control, or asserting more control over your future with just that simple knowledge. If you don't hear anything else that I'm saying, your job is to build your business to exit. Because you're going to exit, right? We'll get into a little bit more of that here in just a second. The next premise for us to understand is, why are you here, right? Why do you buy the books? Why do you come here on Saturdays? Why are you listening to me? Why are you searching out new information? Think about the challenges that you're going through in your own business, right? All of them, just think of them. And I've been doing a bunch of phone calls in research as we get ready to launch this new division. I've been having a lot of conversations with people. I've put it out on social media to have 15, 20, 30-minute calls with people to find out what their issues are, so that we can make sure that we're addressing them with the Built to Exit program. And 100% of the time, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into this in a little bit, but 100% of the time, the problem that we articulate in business, or that gets articulated to me, a business expert, right, to say, hey, here's the issue I have, it is maybe a secondary, third, fourth, fifth level issue, right? It might be true, but it's not connected end to end in a system to understand. So the issues that people tell me are going on in their own business, and you might want to write down what you think yours is, it comes down to one premise. One premise. You own a business to make more money. Okay? You own a business to make more money. Right? Simple, concise. That is the problem you are solving for with your company. You're in it to make more money. Okay? Now, I found you some. Okay? I found you some. And that's this is the gist of what we do at Built to Exit. Okay? The gist. I found you some money. Here's how much money I found you. $250 trillion. Okay? $250 trillion. What is that? $250 trillion is the investable funds looking for people to put that money into assets that make them, guess what? More money. That's the investable funds, $250 trillion. Now let's just take a little scope of what $1 trillion is. Let's say I picked everybody that's on live with me this week, and I picked everybody that's watching this on replay, and I said, here's what we're going to do. Okay? I've got $250 trillion. I'm going to just give you one. Okay? I'm going to pick Lisa Woods out of my audience here on Twitter. I'm going to say, Lisa, I'm going to give you $1 trillion. And I need you to invest that as quickly as you possibly can. Now, let's say Lisa hustled. Let's say Lisa went out there and hustled, and she said, you know what? I know a business tomorrow that I'm going to invest $30 million into. Okay? $30 million I'm going to put into that business. But guess what? She still has a lot of money left over. If Lisa invested $30 million a day, how long would it take her to invest $1 trillion? 100 years. $30 million a day. It would take her 100 years, okay, to invest. So the question comes down for us in the business community, if you are building to exit, we got to agree on that, right? We got to agree on that. We'll talk a little bit about what kind of exits there are and that kind of thing here in a minute. But here's the question that should be resonating in your head. $250 trillion, $30 million a day. It's going to take 100 years to be able to invest that every single day. $30 million a day for 100 years. Okay. And there's $250 trillion out there looking for investments. Okay. Here's the question that everybody should be asking themselves. How do I get me some of that money? If you own a business, you own that business to make more money, right? You make that, we're going to get into why here in just a second, but just stay with me. Okay. Suspend disbelief, suspend arguing with me, suspend the things that pop up in your head from all of the things that you've thought about business, et cetera, et cetera. It's $30 million a day. The question in your head as a business owner, how can I get me some of that money? Right? That's the overriding question. Now, two premises to take note of. Your company succeeds. Your company succeeds by building for your customer's outcome. We've said it a million times. Fall in love with the outcome of your customer, right? That's the job of your business. You succeed by building your company to exit. Should write that down. If you haven't, come back and listen to this on the replay, whatever. Your company succeeds by building for your customer's outcome. You succeed by building your company to exit. Okay? You're building two assets, one for your customer and one for your future owner. I am speaking to you like full-grown adults today. Okay? Full-grown adults that you just got on the phone and you said, hey, Jason, right? I need you to consult for me. These are the things that I would tell you. You're building two assets. Most people, if you don't understand the concept of an asset, you need to get clear with what an asset is. Right? You're building two assets, one for your customers. You've fallen in love with it. You build your process, your product and your service to fall in love with the outcome of that. That creates some cash flow. That starts a business. And you're creating that asset for your customers. Your business, you're building it as an asset for the future owner. Okay? Get right with that in your head. You're building one asset for your customers, and then you are building your business as an asset for the future owner of your business. Okay? Again, what game are we playing in? We're playing in this SME world, right? Which is simply 0 employees to 499. My family, that's you, that's me, anybody that's listening to this, right, is generally speaking going to be in there. There's 33 million of us in the United States. There's 350 million of us out in the world, okay? The other thing that you got to get right with is that 90% of these companies fail within the first 10 years, right? 50% of them are done in a year. They're not built to exit. They're not even built as an asset to serve customers. They're certainly not built as an asset to be able to sell and find some of that $250 trillion that is looking for places to exist. Now, what do I mean by an exit? Right? What do I mean by an exit? When we talk about built to exit, what are the type of exits that are out there? The first type of exit is an involuntary exit. What does that mean? And all of you that are out there watching or listening to me, you know of somebody that had an involuntary exit. We're going to talk about a few of my involuntary exits, but that means the company goes out of business, right? There's you die at your chair. There's an involuntary exit that you didn't plan for, but it's involuntary. It wasn't by your choice. You went out of business. Your revenue went away. Okay? And that leaves a whole mess behind it. A whole mess. The debt that you probably ran up on the way to that failure, right? What are you going to do about future needs? Tomorrow's rent, tomorrow's house payment, tomorrow's food. Involuntary failure of a business is painful. Are you a business owner that's looking to build your company into a machine that creates cash? I'm Jason Sisneros, chairman and founder of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has turned around, merged, or prepped for sale hundreds of companies just like yours. I'm best known as the architect when it comes to fixing and building companies across the globe. My experience comes from owning and exiting over 20 of my own companies successfully. It's that real-world experience that I've converted into the ultimate blueprint that has saved and grown my clients' businesses. If you're tired of getting bad advice, have bought all the books, all the coaching programs, and still aren't seeing the success that you were promised, it might be time to work with a team that has actual experience and a track record of success. Please scan the QR code or visit antonj.com to schedule your free 15-minute consultation to see if we can help you reach your outcomes. That's antonj.com, ANTONJAE.com. Now, the second kind of exit really is a little different. It's just not on your terms. Okay? Not on my terms means that I sold it, but I didn't get the deal that I wanted. I turned it over to my kids and they maybe ran it into the ground. I trusted somebody to run my business, and they devalued it. That's exit number 2. And this is the first one. Number 1 is 90% of people that own businesses is involuntary. The second one, at least it's an exit of some sort, but it's not on your terms. Now, the third type, and this is what we talk about week after week after week, is built to exit. This is built and you exit on your terms, right? That's what we talk about here, built to exit. Now, remember, the premise, everybody exits. You're not going to get away from it. You cannot, you can't ignore it away. But you're going to exit one way or the other. We've talked about many examples of people that we've worked with. We've stepped in and helped families where the owner passed away, and then you have a spouse that doesn't really know what's going on in the business, kids that kind of maybe were hanging around the business, but just getting a paycheck, not really understanding how to run it, but left a mess, right? Left a mess. Everybody exits. How matters. Right? So let's talk, let me tell you just a little bit about my story, because we talk about in sort of conceptual ideas around exit. I'm going to take you through mine. And those of you that have heard me, you know a little bit about my story, but this is more for the new people that don't know. Okay. And I want you to not think about my story, but I want you to think about your own as I go through this, because we all have beginnings. And that beginnings for everybody, because a business, remember, a business is only people. And if you run the business, you are the leader of that business, and you are the leader of the people that are in that business and that will do business with you, and to the person who may acquire your business or that you may exit to, whether that's family or to somebody else. Right? In my beginnings, I was adopted when I was 6 years old by a guy that was not a good guy. And lots of abuse. This is why I'm so passionate in the domestic violence world, because I watched my mother get beaten. I watched her get thrown downstairs. I started stepping in front of her and taking her beatings as often as I possibly could. Over a dozen broken noses myself, right? Being locked in my room until my face would heal. And ultimately that culminating into him going to prison when I was 17 for attempted murder of me and my mom. And then trying to step out of that world, which I was raised seeing what I saw. And I want you to, again, forget about my story. Think about yours. What were those beginning years? What beliefs got planted into you that still stick with you today, that impact how you do business, that impact how you feel about money, that impact how you feel about employees, that impact how you feel about the relationships that you're in, how you feel about you being worthy or unworthy of success. Got to get right with this if we're going to control our future. And look at those things. That was my beginning. Right? And then stepped into and stepped out of that. But let's think about that for a second. The thing that is really common amongst us in the business world, there's really 4 things that we all have in common. We talked about it at the beginning, which is we have a sense of rebellion, right? There's some sort of rebellion, whether that was caused by trauma, whether that was caused by an aggressive family upbringing, whatever it was, we have this idea, this feeling of rebellion. The other one is that we need control. We need control over our own lives, and working for somebody else just ain't cutting it. Some of us, this was part of my beginning, some of us are out for revenge. We would move town to town. We were always the poorest family, always wearing hand-me-downs, always wearing the same shirt day after day after day. Whatever it was embarrassing, right? It was embarrassing. And the rich kids made fun of me. And so part of what I was doing, the part of the energy that got me involved in business, is looking at it as a freedom tool, was revenge. I'll show you. I'll show you. And the 4th piece is that a lot of us enjoy autonomy. Whatever comes, whatever happens in our life, we want to be the ones that control it. That's the autonomy. Okay? So I got out of that, had some amazing mentors. I listened to content. Like, this is why I'm passionate about giving out content and guiding and giving stuff away for free, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be where I am without people believing in me and offering me a journey, a blueprint, something different from what I was raised with. If you're carrying around what you got as a kid, you're going to get very close results to what your parents got, your grandparents got, for the people in your neighborhood, your friends, those type of, you're going to get those same results. And so you got to get around other people. You got to consume different content. You got to put yourself around people that have your the life that you want to lead, the choices that you want for yourself and your family. My first 3 businesses, right? Let's move this along. My first 3 businesses: involuntary exit number 1, involuntary exit number 2, involuntary exit number 3, bankruptcy, bankruptcy, bankruptcy. And in the midst of all of that, there's the things that you don't think about. A divorce, not being in the same house as my kids, the embarrassment that I felt from going from being viewed as a leader to being viewed as a loser. Not having the money to pay your bills from those businesses. Ending up in crippling debt. I didn't just leave and bankrupt. I was $2 million in the hole. And that took 6 years to even begin to crawl out of the idea of my comeback. Lots of pain. Thought I started having panic attacks. Didn't know what that meant. If I was too close to somebody, I couldn't hold down a job. That led to me leaving my home in the middle of the night with a U-Haul full of stuff, going somewhere that nobody knew me, and then slowly having to sell all that stuff off to survive, and then getting evicted out of that apartment and having to sleep on a bench at the beach in Southern California. I became a homeless man, y'all. It didn't get better overnight. I ended up at a homeless shelter because I hadn't eaten in 3 days. And that became a turning point, because those of you that have heard my story, well, I'll share it with you later, but that became a turning point because that pastor at that homeless shelter that gave me that food also gave me a book. And that new information started to change my life, right? I didn't get off the streets right away, but it started to change my life. I started to get clear. I started to have a little bit of hope. I started to understand the idea that I had to develop a future that needed more and different information embedded in it. That was my business. And I went back. Those of you that, again, know me and have heard my story before, you understand I had 3 notebooks that I kept with me this entire time, full of notes of what was going on in my 3 failures. It was like a cathartic thing for me to just go, this employee came in and quit and went to work for my biggest customer. These suppliers called me and said they would extend credit, but only for 6 more days. This person that owes me money knows that I'm in trouble. One of my customers knows that I'm in trouble, owes me $125,000, decided not to pay me to put the nail in the hole, right? Those types of things. I had note after note after note. I trusted a bookkeeper that ended up stealing money from me. I had a blah, 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 blah. All of those things ended up in 3 full notebooks for all 3 failures. And I look back as we're building out this division, I look back and I was like, what was I thinking at the time? What was I going through mentally? And here's some of the things that I pulled out of my notebooks. I was acting like I knew it all. Right? I was acting at the time why I knew it all. This is ego-based. And if you're a small business owner, you understand, a small to mid-sized company owner, you understand what I mean by the fact that you have to exude and put on a mask of knowing everything that's going on. Why? Because your customers are buying certainty. Your employees are working for you because they have certainty that they're going to be able to pay their bills on Friday. You have to put on that air. This environment, this group of people, the Built to Exit community, we know that that's an act in a lot of cases. We just know. Behind it is a great place to be. If you have people that you trust, that you can say, I'm having trouble, right? I have some questions. I don't know exactly what's going on. It's only when you swallow your own bullshit that you handicap yourself and you begin the spiral downwards, right? I was hiring consultants, just like a lot of people out there do. I was hiring coaches. I didn't have the understanding that most coaches and most consultants hear what comes out of your mouth is the problem, and they're more than happy to solve that problem without challenging you with that may not be the problem. If you're not building to exit, whatever problem that you have, if you're not building to exit and you don't know that more money is the outcome, you are on the wrong path. And you may solve a problem like, I need more leads. You get more leads, but you don't have the back end, you don't have the employees, you don't have the service, you don't have the follow-up, you don't have the customer service, you don't have all of those things. So most coaches and consultants that I hired at the time had specialties. They were not an architect, which is my nickname in the business community, right? They were not an architect. When you go to build your custom built home, you're not going to hire the plumber to draw out the blueprints. You're not going to hire them to coordinate all the other trades. You're not going to hire them to architect out what you're doing. You need one. You need a plumber. You need a painter. You need an electrician. But you don't need them to architect your home, to put the blueprint together, to have knowledge of all of the trades so that that can be coordinated through what's called a general contractor. It's the same thing in your business. You've got to understand who you're hiring for advice. Back when I was going through my failure, I didn't realize who I was hiring. They came in, were more than happy to tell me what I needed to hear. They understood my pain. They understood that they were offering me hope, but not a solution. And I paid them and paid them and paid them over and over and over again to my detriment. I was reading the books. I was attending the seminars. I bought the digital courses. And all I was doing, stop, forget about my story for a second, think about your own. What I was doing, because I didn't have the proper end game in mind, was I was rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. And this is what we call, what I came up with a term with a lot of businesses out there are walking dead because they're building towards the wrong outcome. Many of us, just like me, are rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. It's a fruitless exercise for you to get help with sales when you're not building to exit. It's a fruitless exercise for you to get consulting from a CPA that calls themselves a business consultant when your books are a mess. It is fruitless exercise for you to get help with sales when the whole back end of your operations, you don't have any of the stuff in place, when you haven't architected your outcome. So where in your life are you rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic? This is about reality. So blessings for me, I got a chance, an amazing chance to get out of that. And I went to travel around the world with Tony Robbins as one of his speakers. Right? They loved my story. I had no problem because that book that was handed to me by at the homeless shelter was Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within. Right? And so I got a chance to work with him. I got the chance to be one of his speakers. And what that did was it put me in proximity. Think about your proximity. Who are you hanging out with? Where are you taking input from? Are you getting their same results, right? Proximity to the greatest business minds in the world. And I took 3 new notebooks of notes. And I would beg them and plead with them. And I would say, hey, can I come and cook you dinner? I'll come over and take your trash out. Will you give me 15 minutes to go through some of the questions that I have about my business? And I ended up with 3 new notebooks. Humility afforded me the unreal opportunity to learn. And what I did with that, right? It started with my end game. It started with my why. Why was I still struggling? Why did I just not give up? Why did I get back in the game? Why was I still fighting? My why was my kids at the time. If it wasn't for them, if I didn't have kids, I would have given up. I did not want to leave them a legacy of failure. I cared about their future more than I cared about my own. Secondarily to that, I wanted freedom. I wanted to never go through this again. I wanted to equip me, my family, anybody that I touched in the future. I wanted to be able to help instead of hinder. And lastly, it was about my legacy. What am I leaving behind? What am I leaving behind? Have I been of any earthly value to anyone in this time that I've been breathing the same air as everyone else? And that's where I started. I came out of working with Tony and I had the framework of what is now today 20 years of fine-tuning what has become the built to exit system. And instead of rearranging seats on the deck of the Titanic, it helps me avoid icebergs altogether. It delivered me safely to my destination, exactly on time, which was my end game. Sold my companies back in 2019. My what for, right? My why was total time freedom. My by when was actually, it was January of 2019. I missed it by a month. It was February of 2019. And my what now? These are 4 things that you should write down. on the journey. My what now is that I'm a full-time husband, father. I'm a shield in the domestic violence world, child trafficking, feed a billion. I feed people. And now I get to be a shield for SMEs just like you. This is what I get to do every single day. My life has purpose because I solve the issue of more money. The 4 questions you should ask yourself when you decide that you are building to exit is, how much gets me my freedom? Why? My what for? What are you doing it for? What is your by when? When is your end date? Because until you have that end date, it's a fantasy. And then something that most people don't think about is when you get to your end game, when you get that first level of freedom, what's next? I see so many people ruin their careers, go back into their businesses, destroy them, take the money that they get from a sale, drink too much, do drugs, all that other kind of stuff. What for is as important. Or sorry, what now is just as important as all the other 3 combined. So if we're going to custom tailor your exit, do you have the answers to all 4 of those questions? What's an exit? We already talked about one type of exit, which is involuntary. The other one is total time freedom. You own your time. Another type of exit is what's next. I want to start a charity. I want to start another business. I want to sail the 7 seas with my loved ones. I want to take a break for a few years, whatever it is. And the 4th is you sell it, or it's a succession plan. You're passing it off. Involuntary, total time freedom, what's next, or sale or succession. Sale, succession, it's kind of one and the same. In all of those, except for number 1. Number 1 is the involuntary exit. In all the next 3, total time freedom, what's next, and sale or succession, it's going to require you to build the exit. Build a machine that creates cash, in other words, okay? Build a machine that creates cash. Understanding that machine does 3 things. It saves people money, it makes people money, or it measurably improves the quality of their life. So on a piece of paper, I know those of you that are taking notes, on a piece of paper, you write down this phrase, my custom tailored exit. How much money is it going to take? Why am I going to do this? What is my why? What for? That's going to get me through making the hard decisions. The hardest part is changing your behaviors and your patterns. What for? And your by when? What is that date that you're going to shoot for? And then once you reach it, what is next? What now? If you have those four answers in place, then your activities, I don't know how fast you're going to get there. I don't know there's a lot of unanswered questions, but at least you set the framework. And your activities, you're not wasting time on social media. You're not wasting time with a plumber when you need an architect. You're not wasting time, going to bars and doing all kinds of wasted time stuff. You're doing things that are targeted towards creating freedom for you and your family. Hi, my name is Jason Sisneros, founder and chairman of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has helped hundreds of clients and thousands of growth course students fix, scale, and successfully master their businesses. To put it simply, my team and I help people turn their businesses into machines that create cash. To better support startups and other mid-sized companies, my team and I developed a phenomenal and comprehensive digital growth course where I poured decades of business ownership and know-how into 20 hours of content. This course is not easy. It's not an easy pill, but demands real work from you to implement the blueprints that I've developed. We know that reaching financial freedom is never easy, but totally worth it. Go to growthcourse.com right now to learn more about the course and get started on your business journey today. I love the stories, right? I love the stories of the people that have done this. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, you should, right? And this is a great place to talk about why LinkedIn is important. LinkedIn is important because you cannot fake. It's one of the only places on the planet on a social media platform where you cannot fake or buy what's called a recommendation. Because there's the name of the person, there's the business that they have, there's ways to contact them, to do your due diligence to see if they're real. There's a woman that I absolutely love and adore. Anytime you really become part of the B2X community, you become part of my family. Laura Wilkerson is one of them that's on there. And we sat down and we had this exact same conversation. And you can go to LinkedIn and you can read in her own words. It's a nice recommendation. But what she said was, being a great student, I listened and implemented B2X system. What I didn't understand became clear. She's now applied B2X system to 3 business models since, and she's now enjoying real estate investing as a hobby, and she moved from where she was to a gorgeous place in Florida in a very nice neighborhood. That's why I love doing what I do for people like her. Stuart Burgess is another one. Right? He's the founder of a company called Burgex Mining Consultants. You can go to LinkedIn and see his own recommendation. He looked around, and I followed, went to a couple of things, heard me speak, watched some of the stuff online, right? He still had that doubt in the back of his mind. But what he says, just the sentence that matters in there, is not, his expertise and guidance helped me scale my business in ways I never thought possible. Not the kind of feel-good scaling that is commonly thrown around as a buzzword. Those of you that watch me know how much I hate that people use the word scale in a way to deceive you into getting your money. But the real shovels in the dirt, hard work, upfront scaling that leads to real long-term success. When we started with him, he had 3 people in the room, and he's got well over 40 people right now and crushing it in his industry. All right, so let's jump into this. I'm going to start moving this along a little quicker, all right? So if you want to build the exit, like we said at the very beginning, we said your company succeeds by building for your customers' outcome. You succeed by building your company to exit. So you want to know about the makeup of the ideal buyer of your company. And the ideal buyer of your company, because if you build it for the most professional buyer, every other exit is available. Write that phrase down. If you build for the most professional buyer of your business, every other exit is available. You're optimizing your cash flow. You've got management team in place so you don't have to be there. You can go away from your business. You can own multiple businesses. You can pass this off to your kids. You can go part-time. You can sell part of your company so that you can diversify your investment, right? There's a lot. Every other exit, if you prepare for the buyer that I'm about to tell you, and I did an entire show on private equity that you could go back and watch, that'll go a little deeper than what I'm going into here. But let's talk a little bit about what private equity is. Remember I said I found you $250 trillion. Okay? I found you $250 trillion. Private equity worldwide has $10 trillion in assets under management. In other words, they have bought or invested partially in $10 trillion is what they have to spend. In the United States, $4 trillion. The most important number of all of that is not just how much they have, it's how much they have in a bank account. If you write down the phrase dry powder, here's what it means. It means that there's money in a bank account actively searching for your business. That's what a private equity firm does. They buy or invest partially in or roll up or do whatever they do. There's lots of different strategies, but they have worldwide $3.2 trillion sitting, waiting to be invested. Are you building something for them to invest in? In the United States alone, $1.5 trillion. Remember, I said, if we gave you $1 trillion and told you to invest it, and you invested at $30 million per day, it would take you 100 years to get rid of all that cash. So no one understand when I say your company succeeds by building for your customers' outcome, that builds the infrastructure and the business, the machine that creates cash. You succeed by building your company to exit, to sell to these people. And there is 1.5 trillion in the United States, 3.2 trillion in the world waiting for you to build your company the right way. There's 8,000 firms worldwide. 50% of them that are in the United States. They're the most sophisticated buyers of companies. Right now, with all that money that they have, they don't make any money unless they invest it and get a return on that investment. Their investors don't make any money unless they invest that money, i.e. buy your business, invest in your business. They don't get any return on that investment unless that money is active, okay? Unless it's out of that bank account and in your business. They face fierce competition. They have returns that outpace every other vehicle. Investing in you. I said this. This is why I love our community. Investing in you, a small business, investing in you. They make better returns than the stock market, than real estate, than crypto, than all other investment vehicles combined. They outpace them because you're worthy of investing in. They can trust you. And once it's built correctly, they understand that that is a predictable way to invest their capital. And they're desperate for you to build your business correctly so you can get some of that money, right? Everybody exits. How matters. What you want to do is go from your list, right? We talked about how much, what for, by when, what now. What you want to do is assert control. The title of this show, you want to assert control by building to exit, by having a system. The built to exit system does this for you and with you. How much, what for. Now you go to a private equity firm and you go, here's how much I want. Not them telling you how much they're going to give you. You get to determine what for, where that money's going to go. You get to determine with them, which is important if you're negotiating with a private equity firm, how quickly they need to scratch you a check. That's your buy when. And then your what now, that funds your what now, what you're going to do next. Or you're going to do nothing at all. You're going to throw it in a bank account, whatever it is. You control that if you control the build out. Okay? Private equity. Success leaves clues, right? Why private equity? We can go all the way back to 1946. There's a guy, if you want to do some research, the guy that the godfather, the founder of the concept of private equity was a guy by the name of George Doriot, D-O-R-I-O-T. D-O-R-I-O-T, George Doriot. 1946, he started the very first private equity firm, company called ARDC. 1957, he became famous, and the strategies behind PE, private equity, became really famous back in 1957 when he invested $70,000 into a World War II veterans business called DEC that became worth $350 million. That's when people started to pay attention to the model of private equity. Nowadays, 4,500 companies are bought every single year by private equity. Last year was a slow year because of interest rate, all the stuff going on in the year. Last year was a slow year. 3,704 companies were bought in 2023 in the United States, and $871 billion was invested into those companies. There's over 100,000 companies that have been bought and invested in since 2000. I got one question for you. Does 100,000, think about 100,000 complex transactions, would that create a pattern? Does 100,000 complex transactions create a pattern? Think about what you do. If you've done it 100,000 times, is there a pattern? Are there systems? Are there things to duplicate? Right? Are there? Yes or no? The answer is yes. That's what I've studied. That's what my team and I have studied. That's what Built to Exit is. It is custom tailoring the exit for whoever has hired us at Anton J. And now you can get that information through the B2X system, right? It's custom tailoring for your exit. William Ernest Henley and oddly enough, Bill Paxton, I think he stole this quote, I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was Tom Cruise movie, said this phrase: through readiness and discipline, we are the masters of our fate. Okay? Through readiness and discipline. Right? If you get tired of hearing this stuff, if you're not, then you're not ready. I'm talking to the one. I say this every week. My show is built specifically for me to look you in the eye and talk to the one that is ready to create their own destiny, to create their own freedom. Readiness and discipline are not popular in our day and age. Victimhood is, quitting is, drinking is, drugs are. Anything that we could do to escape, escapism is what's going on in our world. But readiness and discipline, you become the masters of your own fate. That means getting discipline over being a whiny baby that complains about everything and actually just does the work and enjoys it while you're doing it. So what do you do? Where do we build? Let's dig into 4 areas, okay? If you're preparing your company for your future owner and private equity, like I said, if you prepare it for private equity, every other exit is available. It gives you choices, gives you options. It optimizes your cash flow. It optimizes your profitability. It optimizes your time off. It all optimizes everything that you started your business for, which was more money. So EBITDA. And again, I'm going to go through these because I did an entire show on this as well. Okay. Where to build your EBITDA. Earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization. 3 levels. As is, which is you're reporting to the tax man because you obviously don't want to pay, you want to pay as little taxes as much as you owe. Okay. So I'm not a financial advisor, by the way. I have to say that every show as well. But you've got your reported EBITDA, you have your adjusted EBITDA, which means you put back in whatever you had to get rid of to minimize your tax, whatever you invested, blah, blah, blah. You're adjusted. And then if you're built to exit and you're ready to sell for the most money possible, you've got pro forma adjusted. That means you understand your competition. That means you understand if you got more money into the business, where you would invest it to accelerate earnings. It proves to somebody who wants to acquire you that you understand what's going on in your business. A pro forma adjusted EBITDA. Okay. Very simply, the bumper sticker on that is the cleanest financial books equals the highest valuation. Okay. Next, management. Management team, leadership and executives in places, all of those things that are built. The bumper sticker on this one is owner optional. In other words, you should not be needed in your business. Owner optional equals the highest valuation of your business. The third place that they dig, your relationship to your customer. You understand and build consistently, not by pushing them away with some AI or some technology or some recorded stuff. It means creating a deep relationship to your customer. Understanding lifetime value, recurring revenue, customer service, client acquisition, client retention. Bumper sticker, best relationship with your customer equals the highest valuation. And then number 4, the mother of all assets is a system. The mother of all assets is a system. A meticulous exit plan. Everything that I said in the other 3 come together in what's considered to be a meticulous exit plan. And that system, that duplicatable system, means that your results are predictable. What are people looking for when they invest their money? They take their hard-earned money, they give it to a private equity firm, and they say, go grow it for more money for me, because they have their own outcomes. They have their own end game. They have their own stuff, right? What they do, give it a private equity firm. And if that private equity firm comes to you and puts it into it, and you've got a meticulous exit plan that's running on a system, you are predictable. Their money is safe and they can outpace, just like they have been doing, right, the returns that they get. This is math. It's math. So the mother of all assets is making sure that you've built out a system. You have a meticulous exit plan. The bumper sticker is it's a duplicatable system that is predictable and safe for people that would invest. I've done this over and over and over again. Remember, I built everything that we're talking about here today. I built for myself. I never expected to become somebody who was going to teach business to other people. It just so happens that it's a great weapon to help other people do well with their businesses, to maintain freedom, all the other stuff that we've talked about here. I'm not going to dive into it, but those of you that follow me know why I'm in the game and why I'm passionate about it. I didn't expect to grow up to be one of the greatest business consultants on the planet. Didn't expect that. I'm glad I did. And to build a system that other people can repeat that success off of. And I don't say that arrogantly. It's just the results of being dedicated, right? This quote that I said before, discipline and a deep love and passion for my brothers and sisters who happen to belong to my family called SME, small and medium-sized enterprises. Over and over and over again, we've done it. One of my buddies, one of my favorite examples of this part of it is a guy by the name of Doug Kenny, right? Again, you can find him on LinkedIn. You can see exactly what he says. But he said, under his guidance, while we were still working toward our ultimate goal, our progress has been significant. The foundation and systems now in place, the result of Jason's guidance, ensures that our trajectory towards that goal is not just a wild possibility, but an imminent reality. That is a 25-year-old valuation business in Georgia. You can go see what he said. And they are crushing it because they're operating on a system. Okay, meticulous exit plan. Just to recap, a meticulous exit plan consists of your EBITDA, pro forma EBITDA, if you possibly can get there, a management team, relationship to customer, and a predictable system. That's your meticulous exit plan. Why? You're going to hear as you start getting into this, as you start educating yourself, you're going to hear in this world the concept of quality of earnings. Okay? Quality of earnings, all of that stuff tells an investor or somebody who's going to buy your business, what are the quality of the money that you're making? What is the predictability of it, in other words? The quality of earnings equals the quality of your assets. Do you have systems and processes in place? Okay. Quality of earnings equals the quality of assets equals the quality of your systems. Be building systems all day, every day. Okay. Now, the end of this, when you get ready to exit, I want to just throw this out there so you have it in your tool belt, right? That your exit team, the size at which you sell matters, but you're going to have a team. Okay. Somebody like Anton J Global, that's my company that does that, B2X. We've got some certified strategists that can help get you ready. You're going to need a tax advisor because we aren't that. A corporate one and a personal one. You're going to need some accountants, right? You're going to need some lawyers. You're going to need an investment banker. These are all the things that you're going to need when you get ready to exit. You got to future pace this stuff because that's why you're building your company. The more you do, the more control you have. Okay? You want to control how much, what for, buy when, and what now. So who's going to buy your company? Let's go through the range, okay? Who's going to buy your company? $0 to $1 million, pretty much nobody, okay? If you have an EBITDA of $0 to $1 million, pretty much nobody. And if you do sell, you're going to have to be with it for a long time. You're going to have to still work there. You're going to have a high likelihood of that person, whoever's buying you, not coming through with the funds. 1 to 3 million is very similar, but there's more people. And there's a group of people out there that I'm not a big fan of called business brokers. There's some great ones, but 1 to 3 million, you're going to end up with some random people. And you're going to also be dealing with business brokers who are not the sophisticated buyers and preppers of your company like private equity. I do work with some good business brokers, but they're very hard to find. 3 million to 10 million, you end up in a little higher range of boutique private equity firms, and 10 million to 1 billion. Lots of people are going to buy your business. And this is where you start to optimize. Now, think about it. If you're in an industry that has a 5X, right? This is, some other terms that you need to get used to is what's the multiple. So if you have an EBITDA of $1 million, let's use 2, just so we can get to my 10, right? You have an EBITDA of $2 million. You put a 5 times multiple on it. Your company's now worth $10 million. Okay. You get to that level. There's a lot of buyers. And you want to be in control of those conversations, not a rookie. Business is an intellectual sport. It is not therapy for you to overcome your mommy and daddy issues. It's not a charity. You got to get over that thought process. It's not a democracy. right? It's not a democracy in your business. It's your fate. It's your outcome. It's your destiny, right? That you are putting together. It's not a democracy because other people do not have on the line what you have on the line to lose. And it certainly, underscore this one, is not emotional. You're running of your machine, right? You're building a machine that creates cash. It's not emotional. You shouldn't be making businesses inside of that machine on an emotional basis. I did an entire show on this subject. You want to save that emotion for the passion you have for your exit. You want to save that emotion for the passion that you have for loving and lifting up and empowering your employees. You want to save that emotion and that passion for falling in love with the outcome of your clients. It should not be anywhere in existence in the business that you're building. When should you prepare to exit? The best time was yesterday. The next best time is right now. And the worst time for you to prepare for exit is someday. So let's talk just a second about what kills exits. Ego, beliefs, and misconceptions. Let me jump into 5 misconceptions that people have. Number 1, nobody wants to buy my business. Yes, they do. I just proved that to you. Okay. I just proved that. There's 250 trillion out there, 10 trillion in private equity alone. Lots of people in between, $250 trillion looking to build your business. I can sell it myself. No, you can't. Get help. Okay. My kids will take it over. Very few kids follow in their parents' footsteps these days. Not a safe decision. My business is my retirement plan. No, it's not. The average business owner retires later than everybody else and ends up having to close up shop because nobody wants to buy it because they didn't prepare it to be sold. I don't need to plan for an exit. Yes, you do. If you want somebody to buy your business, you want to pass it on to your kids, whatever it is, that exit plan has to be in place and you got to be executing on it. Okay, we're going to be wrapping up here in a second. But this is a reality check. Like I said, people that watch my show, this stuff that we talk about, the information that I give, the passion that I have for this thing called business, it's not for the weak of heart. It's not for the people that are out there looking for the easy pill or the AI solution or the newest sales guru or the newest pump you up and make you feel like you're better than you are kind of guru stuff. This is the real shit, and this is a real moment. This is a real moment for you to think about something. What if you don't build the exit? What are the risks? What are the real world dangers? I told you mine. I don't hide any of it. I risked my family being able to be taken care of. I risked my sanity. I risked my health. I risked my relationships. I risked a lot. The danger of me not knowing that I should build the exit and not building to exit was irresponsible of me as a leader of my house, of a leader of my community, as a leader of my country, as a leader in general, of a leader of myself. And the cost was dear. The cost to me was dear. And sometimes we have to have a coach that takes us here. In this moment, we have to have somebody that loves us enough to tell us the truth. If you're not building to exit is still not a guarantee of success, but it puts you at a much higher percentage opportunity for you to be able to live the life that you want to live. But you got to get real about the risks, the dangers, and the cost of not doing this. Tony Robbins said a long time ago, I didn't believe it the first time I heard it, probably about the 20th time I heard it, I understood it deeply, is that most people will do more to avoid or get out of pain than they will to experience pleasure. It's great to have the gurus out there, the Lambos, the jets, the big houses, the vacations, the nice clothes, the fancy parties, all of the stuff. But most of us as business owners, because we are each other, we do it out of the 4 reasons why I said before. And that's okay. If we can harness that, put a bright, shiny future out in front of us, and harness the idea that there are wolves at the door. There are ramifications for us not doing these things properly. There are risks. There are dangers. There are places that we can go that we don't want to experience. And the best tool that I know how that I understood and learned throughout my career is to have a system. So what are the traits that I know you already have that you need to build on? Okay, what are the traits that I know you already have that you need to build on? Knowing where you are. We talk about an assessment. We got that done now. We'll be able to, you can do a business assessment, but just knowing where you are in life in general. Who are your resources? Who supports you? Who doesn't support you? Who's backbiting you? Which employees you have? You assess where you are today. And then knowing where you're going is number 2. That's your end game. We talk about it incessantly on here. Do you know specifically what that number is for your end game? Number 3, I know you execute and you implement. I know you do. That's number 3. But are you doing #the right hard work? Are you systematically approaching your own outcome, your own destiny, your own end game? Are you measuring and modifying? That's number 4. You got to build on these traits. I know they exist or you wouldn't still be in business. Number 5, decisiveness. Making a decision and executing. And number 6, my favorite trait of all of us, which is why I love this community the most, is resilience. Never giving up, never quitting. Never, ever, ever, ever giving up. So in summary, a system gets you your end game. Your end game gives you choices. Your choice leads to your freedom. Everybody exits. How matters. What is your end game? How much do you need? What's your why? What's it for? What's your by when? And what's your what now? Thank you all for sticking with me through this. I know this was a little bit of a heavy episode, but we have to have these conversations. I wouldn't be doing my job if we didn't have this conversation, because there it is, laid out end to end. The week after next, we're on a pause next Saturday because I'm speaking at a business event in Canada. But when we come back, we're going to start getting back into intricate things, questions that need answered, different conversations. But this, I wanted it laid out end to end. What is necessary for you to gain control, not for me, but for you, for your family, for your community, for what you think the best is ahead for us in this country. I love you all very deeply. I put the effort, I put the energy. It took me 3 weeks to pack all of that stuff together to be able to get that out in what looks to be 71 minutes. So if you're still here, you might be the one. I love y'all. See you next week. And make sure you share. Make sure you go to, if you haven't done it already, go to builttoexit.biz and put your information in there. You'll get this show edited, all the stuff in the future. And make sure you share this with other people in the business community that are tired of being fed bullshit and need the real stuff so that they too can build to exit. I'm Jason Sisneros, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.